Hazard Zone, the third game mode in Battlefield 2042. Meant to take inspiration from Escape from Tarkov, that type of game, and it's not your traditional Battle Royale. Battlefield are taking a completely different route this year with Hazard Zone, and I really welcome that. But since we've actually heard initially about Hazard Zone, which I think was in sometime in June at the Xbox E3 event, we haven't actually got any details or confirmed details from DICE themselves about the game mode. I put a tweet out earlier on today basically showing and showcasing to people that it's been 111 days since we've had a sit-down conference or talk with the developers about Battlefield and the things coming to the game. That's completely excluding trailers and different things that have been out since then. This is just sitting with the developers and having them talk about the game. 111 days. That's crazy. All we've got about Hazard Zone as of now is leaks that we've got from industry insiders and data miners. So what I thought would be cool to do in this video is sit down and discuss in detail exactly what Hazard Zone is and how that differs to a Battle Royale game mode such as Warzone. Now, to do this and explain it fully, I'm going to use Photoshop and go into detail of how it's going to work and what we're going to be expecting to do within Battlefield Hazard Zone. And yeah, because it can be quite confusing for those that haven't played games like Escape from Tarkov, which is said to be basically a direct comparison of Hazard Zone. So those that haven't played it may not actually understand exactly what it's about. So I thought it'd be cool just to go into detail about that, to give everyone an overview of what we ideally should be expecting from Hazard Zone from the leaks that we've got. As I said, this is completely subject to change. Take it with a pinch of salt. We haven't got confirmation that it's actually going to even be like Tarkov. It could be, as I mentioned in my previous video, a generic Battle Royale mode that we're all going to hate. It could be. We just don't know at this point. We're going to get confirmation hopefully later on this week or next week when the beta does drop on the 22nd of September. This video will be helpful to those that want to know more details around Hazard Zone and basically summarize everything that we know so far. So without further ado, guys, let's jump onto Photoshop and let's do this. Okay, so to do this comparison, I'm just going to use a generic map from a Battlefield game in the past, and this is to show you guys basically exactly what we're going to be doing or looking for. So let's take it for account that we get a couple of different spawn locations. So the spawn locations I'm going to use and put them in a circle, a red circle. So these spawn locations can be jotted on the outside of the maps or in different locations within the map. So for example, we're going to have a couple of spawn locations around here. There could also be a spawn location on maybe a little island here. This is a complete example, but again, this is what happens on Tarkov and games like that that operate in the same way. You will have a particular area where your squad will spawn, which will be around the edge of the map, and then you work your way into the map to complete your objective or to loot things or loot different buildings, explore different places, and that's essentially what we're going to be seeing in this as well. So where we left off in the Exodus story trailer for Hazard Zone was essentially that Oz is trying to track down a secret weapon which has basically been made by the US, which is a satellite which is crash landed in Doha. So when we initially boot up the game on Hazard Zone, we're going to be playing an objective or the storyline to try and capture this particular intel that's on the satellite. If Oz gets this intel first, it means that he's going to basically start World War III. So on the map, you can see at the moment, obviously we've got all the different spawn locations. So we're going to spawn into one of these many different locations around the map, because again, it's not just going to be us on that map. There's going to be multiple different other AIs and also people that can PvP with you and different actual multiplayer players on this map too. So you could spawn here, for example, but then loads of other people are going to spawn in these different locations, and you've all got to basically fight to loot different things, find different gear, complete objectives, and follow the storyline. Let's use an example that on this star right here, this is where the satellite has crash landed. So for example, if we spawn just here, we are then going to have to traverse the map, different locations, to then of course get to our final location, which is then going to be the green star, which is the satellite. We could then maybe go up here. Here could be a location where we get some really high tier loot. Or we could think, actually, you know what, before we go to the location where the satellite is, I'm going to go all the way over here to this particular building or this mountain, because in this particular location here, there's a boss which actually has some really high tier loot that we can then go and kill and extract with if we need to, if it is becoming really, really ridiculous and dangerous, because there's a lot of people going for it potentially, and then come back in the next game to then get the intel. All around the map, there's going to be different interactable buildings that you can go into. There's going to be things like drawers, cabinets, different loot crates potentially, even like coat pockets and filing cabinets, PCs, stuff like that you can loot, try and get information. If not information, then to try and get different bits of loot. Now on the map, once you've now got all of the gear, you're fully decked out with gear, you've also gone to the start to get the intel, which from the crashed satellite, using that as an example, it's now time to extract. You think, I don't want to lose my gear, I want to actually take this and sort out my inventory, try and maybe sell off a couple of things, get some extra credits or whatnot, if there's going to be a currency system in the game, I don't know, but to try and basically manage my inventory and see what else I can get or buy with the credits that I've got or anything along those lines. Now, what what you need to do is try and extract. Now, around the map, there are going to be multiple different extract locations as well. So there's not just going to be spawn places, there also is going to be places that you can go and extract from. And for this sake, I'm going to do them in a light blue. So on the map right now, you can see a couple of different locations where you basically are going to be able to extract from. This is, again, hypothetical. This isn't obviously confirmed. This isn't an actual map or how it works. This is just what the game mode would play like. But anyway, once you've got your details, once you've got your loot, once you've looted everywhere you need to go, once you've got maybe a couple of kills, you've looted some AI players, you've also looted some PvP players from those gunfights, you've done the objective, you've got the intel, now you want to leave the game and extract from the game. You need to try and go to one of, I believe in Tarkov, there's one of like 6 or 7 different locations that you can extract from. These locations will differ depending on where you are on the map, and they can change at any given time. These extract locations can consist of multiple different ways. So for example, you could leave in a vehicle on a road. You could also run to the end of a long road inside the end of a woods, and then you can extract from there as well. There's also things in Tarkov where you can actually escape through things like manhole covers. However, the disadvantage of doing that is you've got to take off your backpack to actually fit down the manhole cover. So you can extract if you really want to. If you've got 6 or 7 kills, extract for the XP, you will lose all the items you've got in your backpack. So again, there's a big trade-off there, and I think something like that would be really, really cool as well. You can even extract on things such as trains from a train station, or maybe even a tram or something, or as a gondola in Battlefield as well would be something cool to maybe look at extracting into as well. And you'll notice I also put one down here in the water. Potentially there's boats and vehicles in the game. Maybe you could use a boat or a vehicle to extract over here as well. And of course, once you do extract from the game, you've now got all of that loot that you've just carried and picked up within that game, along with the intel from the main story mode. So you've got a load of different intel and stuff that you can essentially go and take into another game. You can maybe sell, or you can use and combine it with other things to upgrade different weapons or things like that. There's a lot of possibilities to what they can do with this, and if it is like this, it's going to really, really do well. Now, moving on to the inventory style of things. So obviously, what do we do when we've come out of a game, extracted, and what do we do with all the loot that we've just got? Or when we start off the game, we are obviously then going to be given a baseline of loot, so maybe some basic weapons, some basic armor, basic bandages, stuff like that. Well, in Tarkov particularly, there's an inventory system. This is where you essentially manage what you take into a game and what you would actually have on your account at that one given time. So on the left hand side, you'll see all of your armor, all of your weapons, and then in the center is what you will have in game. So you have something like a tactical rig that you can attach different ammunition to. If you're using a shotgun, for example, you could then also put your shotgun shells within the tactical rig, which then allows you to reload directly from the rig, so it's a lot faster. You then got pockets as well. You can put a couple of things in, like bandages are really helpful to put inside pockets too. Then got your backpack, which allows you to essentially have different sizes of backpacks, take them into these games, and then put loot into them. As you can see, there's a jerry can in there, there's a couple of weapon attachments, CPU fans, circuit boards, stuff like that you can pick up and you can sell to actually give you some more credits and go on to buy better weapons, better armor, and things along those lines. We've also then got a pouch down below. This pouch is essentially when you put stuff in it, so all of the stuff you see within this pouch, when you die, you do not lose it, even if it's not insured. This pouch is essentially yours completely, and everything in this pouch is safe even if you die. On the right hand side, this is where all of your stock or inventory will be, and this will be there completely. You won't lose this if you die. This will just remain on your account. This is everything that you have on your person in the lobby, and this is everything that you've got in your inventory at that given time that you can take into a game, and the stuff that you get from your game you can put into your inventory and you can keep it there. You can hoard it, you can stockpile it, you can sell it all. It's entirely up to you. You need to manage it and make it your own. Now, if Hazard Zone is going to be like Tarkov, they're going to need to adopt a very similar system to this, where you're going to have a big inventory system. Obviously, it will depend on how the game will play out, if there's a credit system, if there's not a credit system, if you can buy different things off the market and stuff like that. I don't know how that's going to work yet. They're going to have some form of inventory system. They're going to have some form of armor. I don't know if it'll be as detailed as Tarkov, because Tarkov obviously has things like earpieces, face covers, eyewear, stuff like that, and it's very realistic. Whereas Battlefield, I don't know if it's going to have that sort of detail. Maybe we're just going to have things like helmets, body armor, and then maybe some other customization like boots, trousers, pants, stuff like that, whatever you want to call them. Obviously, the different inventory system, you're going to probably just have one inventory system rather than having 3 different ones, such as attack rig, pockets, and backpack. You're probably just going to have a backpack. But again, they're going to adopt a pretty similar system in hindsight. This is obviously how you would manage the way you play and the way you want to play. For example, if this was the setup we were going into a game with right now, on the left-hand side, we would go into the game with a shotgun, we'd also go into the game with a pistol, body armor, a helmet, and also an earpiece selected as well. Along with the center, a tactical rig, stuff in our pockets, a backpack, and stuff in our pouch container. This then means that if we go into a game, we don't insure this gear, we can potentially lose everything on our body at this given time. However, in Battlefield, there has actually been some leaks in the past saying that it's going to work very similar to Tarkov, where you can go into a game with your equipment or your gear, and you can actually go ahead and insure it, which means that when you do die with that gear, you then essentially have an AI or someone go to the battlefield for you. Obviously, you're not going to see this, it'll just be in the background, collect your stuff back, and it will be visible in your inventory in an hour or two. That's how it works on Tarkov. That's pretty similar how it's going to work on Battlefield as well. And as you can see on screen right now, this is what it looks like. This is the Tarkov insurance system, essentially. So as you can see, we've got 33 items to insure. Obviously, everything on the left is going to be insured, from all of the armor to all of the weapons to the tactical rig to all of the ammunition as well, the backpack, everything in the backpack. On Tarkov, there is a currency you have to pay to insure your things to make it a trade-off. So if you don't have the money, you can't insure it. But if you do have the money, it's always safe to make sure you do insure it. So as you can see in the bottom right, it's going to cost around 60,000 rubles in Tarkov money. It just basically gives you that reassurance that you're going to be able to keep your gear if you die with it. This then means as well that the people that rank up the most, the people that play the most, the people that have the best gear are going to be able to go into these games and potentially even come out with better gear. People with no gear at all can go in with a pistol and kill someone with the best weapon or armor set in the entire game, and they will then come out with that if they successfully extract. That's the trade-off with Hazard Zone and the Tarkov type game. You can be literally a starting player but have the best first game of your entire life and come out with the best gear in the game immediately. Can be a bit lucky with it sometimes, but most of the time, if you don't have a great game, you've got to continuously keep grinding, try and get different materials, try and loot different people, get some kills for the XP, and yeah, grind your way up the list. But for me, this is the best way to do it. I think this is such a good way, and such a way that's not really been done too much. Tarkov is the only game, in my opinion, that has done it successfully, and the way that it actually works is very, very good. There are a couple of other games, so Hunt from Showdown or something like that, which has also been compared to this Hazard Zone as well. Has done something very similar to this, but it's not as known as Tarkov. And Tarkov, for me, with it being a military shooter and being very, very realistic in the way that it works, it's just so good to compare this to Hazard Zone as well. You can pick up on an Xbox, PlayStation, or a PC and just play with a controller and potentially do quite well in the game. That's very, very good, and that's big. That's very big. With Tarkov, you've got to be pretty good with mouse and keyboard. You've got to actually have some game sense, and you've got to be quite a hardcore player to be good at it. With Battlefield, with Hazard Zone, if it is like this, it's going to be a more chilled out version, and that's going to really blow up. Again, that in high level summary is essentially what Hazard Zone is going to be like from the leaks that we've got. Obviously, subject to change, take it with a grain of salt. We don't have any confirmed details yet, but this right here is essentially in very high level what we're going to be expecting and looking at for Hazard Zone when it comes out with Battlefield when it launches. So yeah, I'm really interested to know your guys' opinions and details down below on what you think of this, and if it is what you thought it was going to be like. This is what Tarkov's like, this is what Hunt from Showdown's like, this is what other games similar to Tarkov play like, and this, from what we know, is what Hazard Zone is probably going to be like. As I said, Battlefield are going to make it their own. Probably they're going to put vehicles in it as well and add different things to it, such as maybe jet fighters, tanks, actual cars, motorbikes, jet skis, boats, stuff like that. They're going to put their spin on it. So it's not going to be exactly the same as Tarkov. There's going to be differences, and they're going to make it the Battlefield, do it the Battlefield way. But again, this is the baseline of what the game mode is going to be like. And then we're going to basically see and hope that it's a good game. Guys, let me know what you think down below. I'd be really interested to know what you think about Hazard Zone, and if it is what you thought it would be from obviously listening to me talk about it or listen to the leaks that have been given in the last couple of months as well. Drop a like if you have enjoyed, guys. Subscribe if you are brand new around here. Thank you for the support on yesterday's video. It's just absolutely amazing. Hope you have enjoyed today's video. Have a good day. We'll see you in the next one.